2 plus 2 equals 5. Twilight stared at the paper. That was all she had written. 2 plus 2 equals 5. Some part of it seemed wrong to her, seemed off. But Celestia had put it there, and that meant it was right. That meant it was true, because Celestia is right about everything. And that makes sense to a filly as young as Twilight. Celestia knew. She knew that 2 and 2 make 5, and it was her job to teach Twilight that 2 and 2 make 5. So that's what it was, and that's what Twilight knew now too. 2 plus 2 equals 5. Twilight reassured herself of this, in fragmented sentences and consoling phrases. She breathed.
It's okay,
She told herself.
Celestia is right. Celestia knows what's right.
She took up her quill again with her magic and carefully dipped it in the ink. She breathed. She knew what to do next. It was simple. Celestia knew. 2 plus 2 equals 5. 5 minus 2 equals 2. 2 minus 5 equals negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 equals 2. Negative 2 minus 2 equals negative 5. Negative 5 plus 2 equals negative 3. She quickly smudged out the 3. She wondered how she came up with a silly answer like that when she knew it was 2. She shook her head, casting out her silly little filly thoughts and dumb answers, and corrected her mistake.
Negative 5 and 2 make negative 2.
Celestia always said how smart Twilight was, how bright, that she would make a great mathematician. Twilight recalled this and blushed.
Good thing Celestia's not here.
Twilight didn't like failing the princess, mostly because every filly, at least at that age, aims to please and searches for acceptance, something Twilight had never found before. 2 plus 2 equals 5. She said it out loud, praying that would convince her mind that it was true. She wasn't old enough or smart enough, not nearly, to know any better. To even fathom her teacher was wrong, because the very idea of it was silly. How could Celestia be wrong? Celestia knew. And Celestia had been so sure, had been so kind in explaining the simple fact to Twilight. It was not a mistake, for princesses don't make mistakes, and even if she had, she would have... Twilight stopped her train of thought, stopped the silliness. Of course Celestia was right. She breathed again.
Continue.
She stared at the paper. Those were all the facts she could think of. But then she started thinking. Her mind started turning in the most dangerous of ways. The numbers seemed to slowly float off the paper and swirl around Twilight, unlocking and moving about, and making everything so clear. Twilight dipped her quill in the ink and began to write, adrenaline rushing through her veins. 2 times 2 equals 5. 5 divided by 2 equals 2. 2x minus 2 equals negative 5. Negative 5 divided by 2 equals negative 2. Negative 2x minus 2 equals 5. 5 divided by negative 2 equals negative 2. Those were all the facts, though her mind didn't stop. No, quite the opposite. It was inflated with the new feeling of discovery, of eureka, though her brain hadn't learned that word yet. Her train of thought traveled back into her memory, speeding past her questions.
A number times itself.
2 squared equals 5. The square root of 5 equals 2. She let her quill drop, sat back in her chair, and smiled. A strange sort of smugness crept into her, and a dollop of eagerness. How pleased Celestia would be at the progress Twilight had made, just from the simple fact that 2 and 2 make 5. How thrilled at her memory of squares and square roots she'd be. How impressed. And maybe a small idea would be planted in Celestia's mind, like a seed that would someday grow into the prettiest flower, prettier than all Twilight's dresses would be after being crowned Princess of Smartness. She'd work on the title. Twilight's right brain happily slipped into this fantasy, the left side perfectly content with its job well done. She imagined banquets and suitors and book signings with big banners that said,
2 + 2 = 5. Twilight sparkle proves how smart she is.
Twilight sat up, surprised by her own voice.
2 + 2 = 5.
She repeated, uneasiness creeping back from where it lay dormant. Her eyes fell on the paper, on the 8 equations, facts, truths she'd written. She tried slipping back into the warmth of satisfaction, but it had already faded, banished to the doldrums of self-doubt. She attempted to pick her quill back up, but her magic couldn't get a strong enough hold on it. Twilight breathed. She concentrated. The quill returned to the table, bathed in her pink aura.
It's so simple, just a fact. Magic doesn't make sense either, does it?
The quill clattered to the ground, rattling Twilight's mind. Her hooves instinctively went to her ears, but that didn't stop the ringing.
Make it stop!
She yelled, far too loud for such a shy filly. She didn't hear the clatter of hooves over the cacophony of twos.
Twilight? Twilight, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
The door swung open, suddenly yellow.
You don't sound fine.
Princess,
Yes?
what does 2 and 2 make?
5, darling. Don't be silly.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Perhaps you should get some sleep.
Yeah, probably.
Good night, my faithful student.
Good night, Princess.
Sweet dreams.
Luna's blessing.
The door shut again. They could both sense each other's uneasiness, but neither one did anything about it.
Celestia's right. I should get some sleep. Celestia's right.
The phrase echoed in her brain. She realized the twos had stopped. It echoed again. Celestia's right. Celestia knows. Celestia's true. The phrases were pulled to her conscious for the millionth time, swirling and mixing into a pile of strange emotions. And Twilight prayed. She prayed to beings a hallway over. She prayed for peace. She prayed that the numbers would suddenly jump off the page and tell Twilight what was right. No. That's what she had Celestia for. 2 + 2 = 5. 2 and 2 make 5. 2 + 2 = 5. This has been 2 + 2 = 5 by Plumbender. The characters were Anna as Twilight and the lost narrator as Princess Celestia. Alright, just a quick update here. In case anyone's wondering about me doing theories, I'm still doing those, just it's been sort of hectic lately, and it's been hard to organize my thoughts, and honestly, I've just been really lazy and unmotivated, which is terrible because you guys have been giving me plenty of motivation, not specifically for theories, but, just, I am a little screwed up in the head. I have just been doing fic readings and comic dubs just because they're sort of easier to wrap my head around. Like, it doesn't require as much brain work, not as much original creation. So, in general, I've just been lazy. Today is, well, technically it's Monday, early Monday morning. Actually, no, it's Tuesday, Monday morning, whatever. So I am going to keep up my 300 subscriber Q&A. Those questions are going to be open until Thursday, which is, let me check here real quick, May 1st. All right, perfect. So if you have something you want to ask me, you have until May 1st, 2014 to ask me. So with that concludes this fic reading. Thank you all for listening. See you next time.